All right, I wanted to give you some help on this lesson 9-6 homework, and I've chosen a couple of problems to work out for you. So hopefully this will help you with the others that you're responsible for. I went ahead and I've got my axes all laid out. I noticed that the gist of this problem is obviously it's the tangent function and the shift. I went ahead and labeled the phase shift. We're going to be shifting the tangent graph 30 degrees to the left, and the vertical shift is +3. So I just went ahead and wrote that down. Obviously, for tangent, there is no amplitude. To get the period, I did 180 degrees divided by 2, and so that's obviously 90 degrees. And so the vertical asymptotes are going to be, I'm going to treat this as though we are doing the graph of just this function. Okay, so let's just take a look at just a review of what this function looked like in our previous lesson, and then we'll show how everything gets shifted to the left 30 degrees and up 3. All right, so to graph this function, we would have vertical asymptotes at starting at 45 degrees. So just temporarily, I'm just going to show, maybe I'll do them lightly here. This is a vertical asymptote, just splitting the difference between 30 and 60. Right. And then we would do odd multiples of this. So 45 times 3 would be another vertical asymptote. That would be 135. So comes this way. Oh, let me try that again. Just a rough sketch. These are going to be all moved. Okay. And then 45 times 5. That's 225. So here's another vertical asymptote. Splits the difference between those two numbers. And we'll go one more, 45 times 7, 315. All right, so those would be our vertical asymptotes, and we can go ahead and just move this theta axis. We can do the up 3, and then from there I'm going to do the left 30 degrees. So let's just take this, and we're going to move it up to 3. So really this is going to be my my new theta axis. Okay, so now let's think about where, let me just go ahead and put in another vertical asymptote here. Okay, so for just the regular graph of 1/4 tan 2 theta, we would be splitting the difference. So obviously we would have a point right in between these two verticals. So if you're not sure, if you can't tell by looking at the graph, it would be this is 45, this is 135, and the halfway between the two would be 90. So I'm going to do the graph of this, and I'll just use black. And so 90 would be right there. Or if you want to move these numbers up, that's fine too, but I'll just keep them down there. Okay, so you see where I got 90, and then you would find the midpoint between these two verticals. So obviously you got, this is 45, another negative 45 here. So this is obviously going to cross that point right in between. Okay, and then you're just looking for those other midpoints. So the midpoint here obviously should be 180. You can kind of get a pattern here, 0, 90, 180, 270. And that'll be it. That'll be good enough. Okay, and now for those other points, let's just think about inputting 30 degrees in for theta. Now again, I'm not doing the shift yet. I'm just focused on coming up with what this looks like, and then we're going to do the left 30 degrees on all the points. So let's input 30 degrees, and 2 times 30 degrees obviously is 60 degrees. Well, tangent 60 degrees, just to do a little work here, remember that 60-degree angle has an ordered pair of 1/2 root 3 over 2. So when you do sine divided by cosine, that makes the square root of 3, and then times a fourth. So in your calculator, if you do the square root of 3 divided by 4, I believe it's about 0.4. Yeah, 0.43, so we'll call it 0.4. So again, this is like my new ground zero. So you can treat this as 0. And then at 30, let's just say that's the next tick mark. So it would be about halfway, okay, for 0.4. So we'll call that point right there. And then for negative 30, it would be about right there. Okay, so you can kind of get an idea that for just regular y equals 1/4 tan 2 theta, without sketching this whole thing, we're going to have these pieces, and it's going to continue to do this. Let me just put that point there. Okay, so you can kind of see that one, and then one more, and that one. Okay, well now let's do the shift, and this will be our official answer. So all our vertical asymptotes are going to shift 30 degrees to the left. Okay, so this is basically 45, negative 45. So I'm just going to bring it over. So the red is going to be the official. And once I move them, I'll erase them so they won't get too confusing. So that moved left 30 degrees. This is at 45, so when I move it 30, it puts it about right here, right in between. All right, and so I'll clean this up a little bit with the asymptotes. So I'll move that one. And we move that one. Okay, and we'll just keep on doing that. So 30 degrees to the left. So if you think about it, this is 135. So we're going to move it 30 degrees. It makes it 105. So it's just right in between, right between 90 and 120. Okay, get rid of that one. All right, and same thing here, just move it 30 degrees to the left. Okay, and just one more. Okay, so we shifted our asymptotes 30 degrees to the left. And now we'll take these points and we'll do the same thing. So just take each one of these points and go left 30 degrees. And I'm just going to erase them after I move them. Left 30 degrees. That one's, yeah, we'll get rid of that. And for this one, it's right at 30, so left 30 degrees is going to put it right there. All right, and so you can kind of see how that curve is going to take shape. Kind of ugly, but I think you get the picture. Okay, now let's move our other points. So this is at 60, so we move it left 30, left 30, left 30. And we'll just do one more. I think I told you could do 3. Oh, left 30, left 30, and left 30. Okay, and if you wanted to keep going, you could, but I think that will be sufficient. But that's your final answer for the graph of number 11. All right, so here is number 12, and let's go ahead and fill in the information, and then we'll look at sketching the graph. So the amplitude is going to be 4. The period is, since this is sine, it's 360 divided by 1/2, so that's 720 degrees. The phase shift, if you wanted to think of this in degrees, that's 90 degrees, and it's to the right, so positive 90 degrees means we're going to be shifting to the right 90, and then the vertical shift is positive 5, okay? So to get those two lines, since this is a sine graph, let's just go ahead and sketch out the ceiling and the floor. You just take this K number and add whatever the amplitude is, and you get 9. Okay, so all right, so that's going to be the upper limit of this graph. And if you take that same K number and subtract 5 minus 4, you get 1. And that'll be the floor. Okay, and the equation for the midline is going to be y equals 5. So that's where our new theta axis is going to go. Just rough sketch that. All right, so our graph is basically going to be contained. It's shifted. This was the old theta axis. And let's just go ahead and label. Yeah, I need to get to 720, so let me try that again. Make smaller. I want to go through at least one complete period, so. Yeah, that'll be good enough. All right. So we've already done the vertical shift. So let's think about what this would look like if we did 4 sine 1/2 theta. So let's just take a look at that, and maybe I'll do a little different color this time. Let's do this in green. So we know with sine, we have theta intercepts at 0, half the period, and the period. Okay. And so what that means is we've already established the period is 720. So before the phase shift, we would be crossing here. Half the period would be here, and then the period would be here. All right, and we know that sine, I'll just do a little dotted line here. Sine would go through the origin, halfway, really should be at 180. I'm off just a little bit. Okay, and then it would bottom out at 540, and then to 720, and that completes one period. But we need to show that it's being shifted basically 90 degrees to the right. So all my points, we'll start here, 90 degrees. And we'll go out to 810. Okay. So when the graph shifts accordingly, I'll try to trace this out in blue for my final answer. So it hits up here, back down through 450, 631, and then back up to 810, and then we'll say that that's it. So that's a 90-degree shift in addition to a shift of 5 upward. Okay, so I hope that helps. It's 2 of the ones that you had to do. And if you have any questions on the others, you're welcome to email me, and I'll see you next time.